Good afternoon. As we've been reporting since early this morning, the United States, along with partner nations Bahrain, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, struck ISIL targets in Syria overnight. The U.S. military used a combination of fighter, bomber, and remotely piloted aircraft and Tomahawk land attack missiles to conduct the precision strikes against specific ISIL targets. Joining us now from the Pentagon is spokesman Rear Admiral John Kirby. Thank you, sir, for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Sir, CENTCOM is reporting that targets included ISIL fighters, training compounds, headquarters and command and control facilities, a finance center, and some trucks and vehicles. How degrading is this to ISIL's ability to fight and spread terror?
We're still assessing the effects of the strikes, as you may know. It's going to take a little while to get a full analysis in, but every indication that we've seen so far is that we hit exactly what we're aiming at and that we were very effective, not just the United States, but our partner nations who participated in these strikes with us. Again, we're still analyzing. We still got to let the assessment carry on, but we think that these were very effective in disrupting, degrading, and damaging their command and control capabilities. And that's what we were really going after, was their ability to lead and to command and control their troops, their forces. So we went after places where they train, places where they finance themselves, places where they resupply themselves. And again, we're still assessing, but we think we did a good job last night.
And sir, could you explain the significance of using precision-guided munitions in this operation?
Well, almost 95% of the munitions dropped last night were precision-guided munitions. So we know that that gives us great comfort in terms of the effectiveness of the strikes themselves, but it also it speaks a lot to the degree to which we tried to avoid collateral damage and civilian casualties. And we were trying to get after very specific capabilities that they have. And in order to do that, we wanted to be as precise and as lethal as we could be. And again, we think we were. More than 160 munitions were dropped on targets overnight. And so far, we have no indications at all that there was any significant collateral damage.
And does ISIL have popular support in the targeted areas?
ISIL, whatever support that they have anywhere they are, is out of fear and intimidation. They're based their whole structure on a warped ideology, which is just brutal and barbaric at its very root. And we have seen that even those sympathetic Sunni populations have now begun to turn on ISIL and start to either leave the group or certainly stop supporting the group. So there's no way that a group like this is going to, obviously survive with this brutal ideology that they espouse. And we do think that they are further isolating themselves simply by virtue of how they conduct themselves. That doesn't mean they're less dangerous, doesn't mean we're taking our eye off it, doesn't mean we can get lazy here. They still pose a significant threat to our interests in the region, to our people, to our facilities, and eventually they have global aspirations, eventually possibly a threat to the homeland.
And sir, what's the significance of the Arab nations participating in these strikes?
It's hugely significant, and the Secretary is very grateful for the leadership of General Austin and his staff as they put together and help build, in collaboration with our state colleagues, this very modern regional coalition to conduct these strikes inside Syria. As you know, 5 Arab nations participated in these air operations. Not all of them conducted strikes, most of them did, but they all participated willingly, and they participated publicly. And we're grateful for that. And it's not insignificant at all that when going after a group like this, which has so violated the essential elements of Islam, that we had Arab partners standing side by side with us.
And so is this coalition or joint operation indicative of the way we'll fight going forward?
I think we've seen over the last 13 years that we're not going to go to war as a single service anymore. We're going to go jointly. And we certainly are going to go with coalition partners, allies, and friends. That is the way we've been operating for more than a decade, and I think you can expect going forward, and no matter what part of the world we're talking about, we're going to go forward with allies and partners. One of the key components of Secretary Hagel's priorities, when he talks about his priorities, people, capabilities, partnerships, number 3. And he really means it. We've got to have willing partners around the world helping us with our missions, with our operations, helping us better understand the cultures in which we're operating, but also contributing to the burden sharing, to the load of military operations around the world.
And, sir, separately, the United States struck an al-Qaeda network, sometimes referred to as the Khorasan Group, based in Syria. We understand the strikes were to disrupt the group's attack, plotting against the U.S. and Western interests. How crippling was that operation?
Well, we're still assessing those results as well. Those were U.S.-only strikes against the Khorasan Group. We did have good information that they were in the final planning stages of an attack on Western targets, potentially the U.S. homeland or Europe. And we're still assessing our effectiveness. We certainly believe that we hit what we were aiming at. But again, we've got to do more assessment to be much more clear about the disruption of that particular threat. What I can tell you is, regardless, we're not going to take our eye off this group or their capabilities or their intentions.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for talking with us this afternoon, and we'll hope to have you again some other time.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
This has been a DoD News Special Report. I'm Sergeant Adam Ross.